What's up, guys? So today I finally get around to streaming. I have been pretty tired, and also I was kind of sick these last 2 days. Just had problems with my asthma. But, anyways, it seems like I'm feeling a whole lot better now. So here I am, and today I ended up coming across an article that got me talking about this, which I wasn't planning on, but I feel like it's worth mentioning because I will not stop talking about this until I just am fed up with it and cannot do it anymore. But I was in the wonderful world of Twitter, and there was this article about Henry Cavill in which he was pretty much voicing some kind of concern as to why he doesn't approach women when it comes to flirting and dating. And he was pretty much saying that the reason he is afraid of dating will be because he may be called a rapist. And then I'm like, okay, that at first glance for me seems a little extreme, but when I think about what has been happening lately, I'm like, that is not such a, what can I say, radical thing to say. Um, and in my opinion, immediately upon reading more details, the thing that kept striking me the most was I feel like presently, in more modern days, there is a major disconnect going on between men and women. It's not necessarily something that is condemned to be a bad thing, but because of certain liberties and thus privileges and people being able to just do more and have more protections and rights when it comes to some things like women still calling themselves feminists in the present and saying that it's all about equality. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what right do we not have already? Like, we can vote. If you get paid less for the same job as a man, that is illegal. It has been since forever. And that's why I cannot really get behind it like that. I guess you guys call it third wave feminism or something, because I get it. I understand why things are the way they are. I can see through bullshit. And just because I'm not completely aware of some things doesn't mean that I cannot look at something and have an opinion. So, anyways, but when it comes to this disconnect that I keep talking about, when it comes to the realm of dating, I keep getting this feeling that women are looking for guys who are not guys in the sense of their masculinity. Like, the way I think of the male behavior, and I may be wrong, you guys keep in mind that I was not raised by a father. Male figures in my life have been very limited, but what I have observed is that guys have this sense of being builders, adventurers, risk takers, and they just don't have fear to them. And what I mean by that is I admire them for being able to look at a woman and they're like, I like her. Something about her speaks to me. And they don't try to hide their feelings. They try to go after what they want. In this case, who they want. I would love to be like that. I am too shy to look at a guy who I find attractive or I like and be like, come up with some female talk to be able to get his attention in some type of way, But not only is that, from my point of view, an admirable trait that I see in guys, it's something that if that wasn't happening, how would dating be? Like, women normally don't make the first move because it's not associated with that. It is expected that the guy is the one who makes the first move and does the picking up in a situation like dating. But I'm like, why can women not try to do that? Like, I hear guys mention that they would love for the girls to make the first move, not only in establishing dates, but also in the intimate uh, atmosphere, in the intimate setting. And I'm like, wow, I would have never thought of that, because I think that we have been uh, wired to be thinking that the woman has to be this submissive creature all the time, when in reality, that is a power that can be shared. So that's why I say that there is a disconnect going on, because it almost feels like a woman does not feel comfortable with a guy unless he has like this effeminate side to him. And to me, that's kind of weird, because I don't want a weak guy. I don't want a guy who's overly emotional. That's what I'm for. I'm the one who has to deal with emotions, you know? I'm not saying that guys don't have emotion. I'm just saying that their emotions do not get in their way of getting things done. Like, if I have a downtime, what I tend to do is eat a whole pint of ice cream, regret it later, and then, I have my 15 minutes of being a drama queen. And after that, I pick myself up and keep going with my life. Guys don't do that. Guys do not go up to their girlfriends or boyfriends and go up to them and tell them things and have like a box of pizza or something. And then, that's their way of dealing with emotions. No, they're just different. They just build things, create things. Um, Put it this way, innovation, a lot of our innovation, it's thanks to them. And I feel like throughout the years, because of us focusing on shifting power and then maybe getting women to be on a more superior role, that has gotten lost. um, like, we keep looking at it as we are this oppressed group, and I'm like, no, women are like ridiculously privileged. All we have to do is cry about something, say we need help with something, and help just rains upon you. All right? So that's why I say I can see through bullshit. And some of this stuff, like with the Me Too movement, I see what it's trying to do, but like everything that gains momentum, if it is not used responsibly, it can create a whole lot of problems. And now the problem that I am seeing is that because this is like a women pride thing, or so it seems, I feel like now we are invalidating the experiences and feelings of men. And what I'm trying to convey with that is that there are cases in which the woman is the one who abuses the man physically and emotionally. They may not be able to inflict much significant damage on a physical level unless they are, I don't know, armed or something. But when do we ever hear that uh, topic, that story becoming sensational? Never. When, it almost feels like when a woman hurts a man, it's almost celebrated in a sense. And the reason I say that is because when there are instances where a girl completely harasses a guy or something, it's like they start giggling or laughing about it, and the guy is clearly uncomfortable. But of course, he's not going to make a move, because who is going to believe him? Who is going to be like, it's terrible that this is happening. These women need to face the consequences. No, it's going to be something like, what, you're a man and you're crying about this? You cannot take it? It's like that. I think it's a very toxic mindset. So that is what I'm trying to say when I express this disconnect stuff. It's like, we are creating a whole new mess and we're not really dealing with it properly. And that's why we have stories like this surfacing. And I know that guys do their terrible things. There's no denying about that, but I'll get to that in a second. And let's see, I made some notes on this matter. Oh yeah, on the note of Hollywood, dating in Hollywood, how can I put this? It's not necessarily limited to just women, but the Hollywood culture is a pretty messed up one. There's no need to deny it. Stuff goes on amongst people who have money, resources, the people in power, the elite, all that good stuff. Women, of course, um, pursue typically someone who has it all put together. You're looking for someone who's not a bum. You want a guy to be in a very good position financially to maintain you. Um, and that makes the guy seem more attractive. But you're only thinking of the benefit of it from a social and financial standpoint. You are not considering the fact that when a guy has power and money like that, he's usually going to be a busy ass person. And normally, when you're in a relationship, you want to spend quality time with someone. You would like for that someone to focus on you and do things with you. And I guess people in power can afford to be taking more time off, I guess, but depending on your responsibilities, that's not going to be the case. So this is not universally true. Like what I'm getting ready to say is not that every single person who has money is like this, but there are consequences for valuing the wrong things. And this is when I like to say very often that I want for people to be accountable for their decisions and their actions. And that is, if you like men with power, that man usually has money, or if you like a guy with money, that man usually has power. And then with power, usually there are certain traits that these people who have money and power display. And oftentimes, that stuff that is displayed is stuff like control, being a leader that you have to be submissive to, and stuff like that. Basically, you're under their control. You're playing their game. They're the ones who set up the rules. If you don't like that, if that's not the environment for you, then don't get exposed to it. Don't pursue that. Because for me, I know that I could not date someone in Hollywood because I don't like the idea of, first of all, if my man is an actor, I don't want to know, see, nor hear of him being all over another woman. I don't care how fake it is. I don't care how much acting and unreal it is. It bothers me to see that my man is going to be all touchy with someone else. It just does. I don't do it. I don't have a profession where I'm doing that. And even if I wanted that kind of a profession, I would know better than to pursue a relationship because I know that shit is going to bring problems. And I happen to be kind of a jealous person, not due to insecurity. It's just that when I fall for someone, I fall for them hard and I tend to overprotect them. But why am I going to expose myself to a group of people, a social circle that does not support my values? So if I want to be in a perfectly happy and fulfilling relationship, I know better than to go after someone who is in the spotlight all the time. And if, God forbid, this person happens to be someone who is mentally weak and they succumb to influences very easily, in other words, a man who's not really trustworthy, then of course I'm going to be in a miserable ass relationship. I am not applauding that the Hollywood atmosphere is like this at all. Like, not at all. I think it's messed up that once people have money, fame, power, and glory, like they are like screws in their heads just loosen. All right, I'm not trying to normalize this or make an excuse for this, but I'm just saying that you, as an individual, have a choice. If you do not like that kind of environment, do not expose yourself to it. You have a choice. Normally, people who get to the top, they had to do messed up things, crazy things. Look at the story or the background of specific people who are in power, the elite. Some of them may even have blood in their hands, like when it comes to how this country came about, for example. Let's think about that. So, if you want to look at Hollywood in a very critical way, think of it that way. Someone had to do messed up things and submit people to crazy conditions like dangerous work conditions or something to get to where they were. And some photographers even do that. Something as harmless as taking a picture. How many times do we not hear of people who end up being insanely acrobatic and taking risks just to take that perfect shot? I'm like, I don't think I would expose myself to so much danger in the name of art, but some people do it, and that generates a load of success for them. See what I mean? So, um, not everyone in Hollywood, of course, I believe is like this. It is possible to find someone who is going to not be crazy, but normally that culture is that that's what happens. People mess with drugs, people drink, etc. Horrible things happen. If that's not your kind of environment, don't do it. It's that simple. And then someone who was on this thread, I guess, I don't know if she started the thread or if she was just the most popular tweet or something. There was this girl who was saying that if Henry Cavill doesn't want to be called a rapist, all he has to do is not rape anyone. That should be it. It should be absolutely true. And, end everything. But that's not necessarily how things work because sometimes women go the extra mile to make the guy look like a monster even when he hasn't done anything. And especially in relationships, sometimes when a girl is telling me, talking trash about his guy, I'm always kind of skeptical about it. I'm like, well, you're telling me your story. You want me to see why you are having a bad day and a bad time with the guy. Let me hear the guy's side and then let me come up with my own conclusions. Because if you only hear it from one perception, it's going to be biased. It may be altered a bit. Because when a person is sad, when a person is hurt, when a person is angry, they may change the story up. It's just human nature. Stuff happens. So anytime I tell a story that's personal, I always say to someone, it is possible that I am wrong. You should hear what they have to say. But if you make the choice of just sticking to my story, I promise that I try to tell it to you as unbiased and sincere as I can. But it's possible that my emotions and my pain will get in the way. I am aware of that, and I tell you that up front. But anyways, what I what I always find crazy is that even when men don't, they still get called that. That's the reality of it. Even when guys don't do something as terrible as, raping, they'll still get accused of that because of movements like this. Because it gains momentum, it gives people a platform, and then these people suddenly feel like they're ahead in the game, and this power becomes abused. The Me Too movement, I think, is a good one, but at some point, the wrong people start being the front face of it, and that is where I become concerned. That's when I'm like, okay, this is being taken a little too far. I hope I'm making myself clear. I'm not trying to. Sometimes when I express my opinion on this, I'm afraid that I may be blaming victims, and that is never my intention. But what I want to illustrate is that sometimes people do not know how to use their newly acquired power responsibly. You get too excited that you're getting somewhere. There's nothing wrong with being excited, but what is wrong is that you are trying to like change the course of history to suit your new agenda. And not always are you doing so in an appropriate manner. I hope that's what you guys are getting from this. Your intention may be good, but you may end up accidentally doing damage. And that's when I think you should take a second to reconsider, are you becoming the new monster of the story? Let's see. And then another thing is that when something gets out of control, like the Me Too movement will have its flaws, it's okay to call it out. That's all I'm saying. And then I saw other people who had pretty good tweets that I pretty much sided with, and that was the point of the Me Too movement is supposed to be that people can speak out, right? Speak up, express yourself, you know? But here is a guy, Henry, who is clearly not comfortable with a situation and he's expressing it. As a person, he has a right to speak out, but he's being punished for it. I mean, it's like a guy can never be a victim, or so it seems. So in this case, it's not that he's a victim of anything. He's just expressing concern about pursuing relationships given his position and status, and also depending on the girl's position and status. I'm not saying that Henry is an angel, because, I mean, it is possible that he has done his crazy stuff. I guess I should have researched his past a little bit to see what his game is all about. But I mean, if he's expressing concerns like this, give the man a chance to express it, because I'm sure that there are a lot of guys who feel just like him. And remember, guys' nature is to pursue. Like if they see a woman who they like, they typically have the guts to go after them and ask them out. So because women are not wired that way, I guess we may be intimidated by a guy's courage and openness to conduct themselves in such a way. But don't penalize the guy for that. If the guy's way of approaching you is really making you uncomfortable that much, that's when you express it. You be like, hey, brother, I'm not available. I'm not interested. But be kind about it. Be polite about it. Don't go on social media and create this story, phrase it in a way that makes it seem like you were subdued or subjugated into something. That's what I have issues with. And then, yeah, this other person says that people can and will accuse you of things you didn't do, just like I mentioned earlier. And then there was another part that he said that included the little narrative of women when they end up saying that they were in a situation where they couldn't say no. I'm like, you always can say no, but I think the major problem is that you end up consenting, but you end up regretting it. And when you end up regretting it, you want to somehow be compensated for it. To me, that is weird and messed up. So, if you are truly, truly, truly a victim of rape, you are going to do what is necessary, which is you report the person immediately. You do not wait. You do not blog about it first. You go to the police to have something done about this person before he hurts someone else or hurts you again. I think that's what any rational, normal person would do. But if you decide to turn this into a sensational story, that's what I have issues with, because I think if this is a matter of safety, that's what you will do first and foremost. But if you have resentment within you because you had a bad experience with a guy, or you decided that the encounter wasn't all that great and you wish that you could undo your action, and now you're speaking out and calling it a deed that it isn't, because clearly you did not walk away, you ended up giving in to this situation, then you lose credibility. That's all I'm saying. And that's why sometimes, again, I fear that I may be misjudging a person, and they may actually be a genuine victim and they just didn't know how to voice things. I fortunately have not been a victim of this. So maybe if I became a victim, not that I am asking for this tragedy, but maybe if I were a victim, I would understand maybe the fear of immediately reporting someone. But knowing myself, I'm like, no, injustices get taken care of immediately. That type of thing needs to be reported immediately. It's a safety concern. I take safety seriously. So that's why sometimes I think that what is happening is a lady is frustrated. Her encounter or date did not go as great as she planned, and then she regrets it and she wants to somehow be compensated for it. Once again, guys, all of this is not really me trying to act or present myself like I have the solution to everything or like I have the key to ridding the world of evil. I surely don't. I'm just voicing an opinion. I can read. I have a brain and mind of my own that generates its own opinions, and I like to do just that, voice it. So on some stuff I'll be right, on some stuff I'll be wrong. Life is all about learning. It's a journey that consists of nothing but experiences that will teach you things. And maybe this is my time to learn things. So that's just my opinion, my most humble opinion. You guys may agree or disagree. And just know that I'm always open to be challenged. I like to challenge thoughts and ideas. And that is how I have become the person I am. And I encourage everyone to do just that. Just make sure that when you do this, you do not do it with ill intent. And I believe that that's how I handle it. And anyways, so yeah, it appears that I went over everything that I have in my notes. So now I get to catch up with what you guys have been saying. Let's see. I can see that. Felix says hi, hi. K Flame 90 says hello, new subscriber. Thank you so much and welcome. This is why I like your channel. You actually have independent thoughts and you use your logic. Thank you so much. I find these easy because I'm just not used to speaking. But if I was able to write, able to speak. So that's what I'm challenging myself with presently. But I'm so glad you can find pleasure in watching my channel. Surely the only thing one should need to avoid being called a rapist is to simply not rape anyone, but society is nowhere near mature enough for this subject if you ask me. That, my friend, is why I am here trying to initiate a conversation about it. I'm not saying he's right or wrong to be nervous. I can see why he might be, but like you said, people don't treat this stuff with equal seriousness in regards to gender. Also, it turns out Hollywood has been run by legit sex pests for a while, so someone who works there, I guess, might feel like they are walking on eggshells. I don't know. I don't work in Hollywood. You know what? Someone somewhere wrote or said just that. I don't know if it was an interview that I watched or an article that I read, but someone called it literally just that. They said it's like walking on eggshells. And that's the thing, man. It's irritating because I feel like people's sensitivities nowadays, they're hypersensitive, and you have to be able to handle something, some kind of emotional and mental pressure, because life cannot be perfect and colorful at any time. That Yellowstone National Park can freaking, erupt. Then what? Are you going to say that that disaster is going to affect the women more? That is kind of ridiculous. It almost seems like if if anything doesn't go right in society, it's women as a group who get most fucked. No! Life is tragic in the same manner that it is beautiful and it has its amazing things. You have to be able to handle something emotionally and mentally. Then again, maybe I personally have a certain degree of coldness to where I cannot be empathetic or sympathetic about some situations. In that case, that is a major flaw on my end, and I am sorry, I guess, but I just do not look at life as I'm a victim and I need reparation and compensation. If something terrible were to happen to me, well, I was weak to defend myself. Someone took advantage of that. It's not fair. It's not cool. But am I going to try to reason with a bear who's going to maul me? No. That mug is going to absolutely like eat me to the bone. And if I'm not equipped properly to defend myself, that will be my fate. So again, I'm not trying to normalize this. I'm not trying to desensitize, desensit, undue sensitivity, put it that way. I don't know how to say a word to the matter, but I'm just saying you have to be able to handle something about life. We cannot just try to keep tailoring life to accommodate you because the world and life does not owe you anything. That's just the way I look at it. Again, maybe I'm just cold and whatever, but yeah. It seems like society is in the middle of some kind of paradigm shift right now. Things will calm down eventually, but there are a lot of reactionary people. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like doesn't even need to be a major situation going on. People are just like the energy levels to create some kind of a movement and some kind of a revolt is just it's like that's the trend now. It's just cool to have an outrage, and I'm like sometimes I think that it's all happening just in social media because I don't see people walking around acting like that. But then again, maybe the place where I live, people are not activists like that. And I have no doubt that there's gatherings and protests that take place, and maybe eventually close to me, something will happen. But I'm just saying, life in fear and just not doing things because of this. I mean, I don't know. You're so right. I like the theme. Hey, Jordan. Zemri, you need a TV show on TV. You're a talented person. I'm not sure how having such a thing, but how about if we just keep the channel going and that'll be my TV character. I'm the star. I run everything. I have my own schedule. You guys can come and say whatever you want. And yeah, the media is different nowadays. Yeah, you're right. I used to think that everything that came from the news was true, but then, the internet came about and the media got exposed, which really there have been books coming out about the media being that way for a long time. Like I was reading, I never finished reading this book, but I have it somewhere. A book called Bias by Bernie Goldberg, and he was talking about Dan Rather and all that, and it was a pretty interesting book to be reading. So I guess I should finish it for the sake of finishing it because I vaguely remember anything now. But it was cool to have an insider's view on what's really happening. And yeah, you guys, really, I don't have anything else to add to this matter. But that's just my opinion. I mean, like I said, I don't want to show myself like a teenager mindset of, oh, I can rid the world of all evil. It's great to have energy. It's great to be passionate about things, but at some point you have to accept defeat. And what I mean by that is there's some stuff that you just cannot fix. Some, like for me, when I see an animal that's suffering, I want to save it, but I'm like, I know nothing about saving an animal, and not everything can make it. We're all going to die, some people sooner than others. And that's why you have to make most with your life. Take risks within reason. And if you make a mistake, do not make others responsible for it. You gotta be responsible for your actions. Only you, because you decided that. And the world owes you nothing. All right, guys, let me see. Did you comment something else? Yeah, that will be cool if you. Yeah, it doesn't seem like going on. All right, guys, I'm going to bail on you. I will try to come back later or tonight or something because there's wanted to talk about. Um, but I saw the story and then my thoughts just completely went in this direction. But like always, don't be afraid to share your thoughts. Let me know your opinion. I read everything and I absolutely love what you guys have to say. And especially when you challenge me, because I'm like, you know what? I feel like a piece of shit. I would have never thought about that on my own. It's a very humbling experience and I love every single second of it. And I love to share that with you guys. So, yeah, I look forward to reading what you guys have to say that will catch the stream later. So yeah. All right, guys. I'll see you soon if this thing allows it.